everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze. And I have with me Robert.
Hello.
Where's your wallet, McCall?
It's found.
It's found.
It's home.
It's safe now.
And Anthony stand-in Venden.
No, I'm sitting.
I don't
think you're just a stand-in. I think you're just a real nice guy.
I think you're just an
I'm
all-around
so
nice
glad
guy.
you found your wallet.
Okay, so we are live. We are good to go. We are trying. If you're watching the chat, you'll see that we are trying out a new format. We're using a new system to try to go live. And so if you see anything, oh wow, it's actually got. I'm watching it. It has closed caption.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty cool. Sorry,
Really?
didn't mean to get distracted
Side
there.
note.
But anyway, so we're on a new platform. So if anything goes wrong, we apologize. We're trying out something new. We've got Danny behind the scenes working over here, working the switch. So we'll see how it goes. So we are. You'll notice that Eric McCabe is not here. He is out on assignment, putting together a.
It's not me.
He is putting together a. What is he doing? He's working on a course.
Yeah.
He's working on a course right now.
We actually really like to add more courses here in Emporia.
Right.
So we're working on that.
Well, this one's like.
It's not quite in Emporia, but it's pretty close.
Yeah. So
Are we allowed to say where?
Nope.
Oh, we aren't?
I just
Somewhere.
I play it safe.
You played safe.
I always play it safe.
Well, no, because we've done a video on it before. It's at the John Redmond Reservoir.
Oh my gosh. Well,
We just said where it is.
gosh, we're getting sued now. Probably.
Well, we did a video on him going out to.
We need
do
to lawyer
stuff
up.
with it. So I think we're good to go. Anyway, it is episode 217 of the Disc Golf Answer Man. Thank you for joining us live, and if you're listening on the audio, thank you for downloading our podcast. What do we got going on? You guys actually have some exciting stuff going on this weekend. Where are you guys going?
We're going to do some stuff.
Oh, we're going to throw lots of Frisbees.
Yeah.
Lots.
Anthony and Kevin and I are headed up to
Is your volume on?
Disc Golf Answer Man. This is Disc Golf Answer Man. I had my volume on my computer.
Robert just
I
watches
honestly,
himself.
let's get real for a second. I thought it was Danny's volume. And so I was like, Danny, come on, man. No, it's totally my
No,
fault.
it's totally your fault.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. We are headed up to Clash at the Canyons in Illinois, near the Chicago area.
Lockport.
Yeah, Lockport, Illinois. From what I hear from Anthony and other people in the area, Mike Conley is from up in that area. I know Dana Vici is supposed to be there. I hear the course is fantastic.
Yes.
It's a 2-day A tier, which is a little out of the norm for an A tier, but we're going to play 27 holes a day on Saturday and Sunday. So we'll head up and get some practice, and yeah, it should be really fun.
See Chicago.
Yeah,
First time for you and Kevin. I believe.
Neither of us have ever been to Chicago. The closest I've been is we went to Quad Cities for AmWorlds last year, but only stayed in the Quad Cities. We didn't really look around a whole lot. So I'm pretty excited, man. I like seeing new parts of the country, and I only hear good things about this course. And
I think you're really going to like it.
nice.
I think you're really going to like it. It's probably like in my top 5.
I can dig it.
Describe the course for us, Anthony.
There's everything. The way I was telling Robert and Kevin, it's probably compared to what we have in Emporia, I would say it's like 50% wooded, 30% kind of park style, and then 20% open. How far can you throw a disc? And
Super far.
Very
Extremely far.
Yeah. So you really have to have all the different shots. You can't just get away with throwing hyzers on every hole. You can't throw bad shots and still get rewarded for it. It's not easy, but it's fair. It's super fair.
That's kind of how I felt about the country club layout this year. Like, definitely not easy, but fair. There were fair places to land, execute, and you'll be in a fine spot. Don't execute, you will be in a less fine spot.
The canyons are a very, very different version of fair.
I can dig it. Awesome.
Yes.
Excellent.
It's really good.
I'm going to be going home. Well, not home. I live here in Emporia, Kansas, obviously, but I'll be visiting some family in Bartlesville to celebrate some birthdays and Mother's Day.
Nice.
Because both my mom and my mother-in-law are there.
Just for the record, that's definitely the reason that I wanted to go back and play Clash, because my parents live there. And
for
it was
Mother's Day, we're going to stay with Anthony's family.
Yeah, that was 100% the reason I knew that.
I assume they're listening to the show, probably. So.
I guarantee my mom is.
Yes. His
Hey,
mom.
Mom.
Does listen to this, so.
Mom.
So anyway, I'm going to take my bag just in case, my bag and cart, so I can maybe play some disc golf out there, play Sooner Park, and then that new course that I played a while back that I got someone didn't like that. Some people didn't like that I talked badly about the course. I didn't talk badly. I just didn't know a lot about it. So we're going to check it out. I'll check it out now that it's complete. Nice. Anyway, so what else we have coming up? Trilogy Challenge. You can go to trilogychallenge.com to get information about that. But that's coming up. May 26th is when the first events start happening. You can go to the events page and see what is happening as far as where they're being played. Let me check to see if I can find out how many are being played right now. 265
nice
events.
That's awesome.
40 states out of 50. Thank you, Robert. And
no, there's 50 states.
Right. No, I said 40 out of 50 states.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So anyway,
glad you fixed that, because last time you said 40 states, and I was like, come on, man.
And 10 countries. So on the 26th, it looks like Kansas, North Carolina, and Iceland has one on the 26th. Oregon, New York, Texas, California. Anyway, go out there and see if there's one happening in your area and play. You get 3 unreleased discs that we have on the table. Bam. We'll talk about those later. But get a nice players pack with the discs, shirts, and stuff like that. If there's not one in your area, there is still time to get registered to run one. So do that for sure. Also, we have some disc golf match play information to share. That's the singles brackets are kind of they're at the state level, right?
Yeah, we're into the
We just had ours last weekend, the Kansas ones.
Yep. Who won?
I don't know. It was definitely not me.
Okay.
I know Harold was there, and he beat me.
Also wasn't you, Robert.
Yeah, that's correct.
So we're at the state level. Now, pretty soon we're going to have doubles come up.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that a little bit more later as well.
And then we'll also have other things come up.
And then other things.
Ooh, but we're going to talk
I'm excited about those other things.
We're going to put that in the miscellaneous tab. Anyway. All right. What do you guys say we head to the questions?
Yep. Let us.
Remember, you guys can go to discgolfanswerman.com, submit your question. We will get it on the air. We're going to go through a few pipe. I was going to say speakeasy. What are we in the 40s?
Speakeasy questions.
These are the questions that are prohibited.
Yeah.
We can only talk about them in little rooms. Speakeasies.
It's like Disc Golf Answer Man after hours now.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go back to school and take your...
travel back in time and
what
learn.
class would that have been in when we talk about history?
Yeah.
History class.
I guess so, yeah.
Anyway.
Possibly literature when they would reference speakeasies.
That's true. All righty. Let me get the right volume and let's listen from Jared.
Hey, Bobby, Robert, Eric,
wrong,
or whoever may else be in the studio today.
What's up, Jared?
Hope you guys are having a super duper keep it real day. My name's Jared. I'm here in Waterford, Michigan, and I'm calling because about 3 months from now, my good friend Angelo and I are going to head on a disc golf adventure, as it would be. We're heading to Flip City in Michigan. And it got me thinking, I wonder if Eric or Robert or Bobby have any amazing road trip stories from traveling to go play the game we love. Anything funny, anything crazy, just let us know. Thanks for everything you guys do.
All right.
You guys are awesome. Peace out.
I mean, if you want to check out any of our amazing disc golf adventures, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch our disc golf adventures. We're getting ready to have, they're all fun. They all have their different reasons for.
Are they all fun though? I mean, come on.
Yes.
No, they're fun.
Just different levels of fun. But one that's actually coming up pretty soon in a couple months is we're headed out to Finland. Ooh. To go overseas for disc golf. Never would have gone.
You said road trip.
There's roads in Finland.
But you're not driving to Finland. Hang on a minute.
It's still an adventure.
Okay. I'll accept it.
I would assume what he's talking about is like you and a couple of people in a car, you guys road tripped out to a tournament, probably not for work, but just to play or something.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't play except for work. No.
Okay, fair. Totally fair. I don't know. I've driven to a ton of tournaments, but a lot of them have just been by myself. I haven't really had a lot of crazy things happen while on the road.
You just don't want to upset other people when this question comes in next week, and then you say it's this weekend with Kevin and I.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So
once we hear back from this weekend, then we'll see if that was a good road trip or not. Yes. I will say all of our RV road trips that we've taken this year have been a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah. I've never really road trip to play. This will be like the first time for me.
Yeah, mine are always just in like a local area. 3 or 4 hours max is what I did in Texas. So I would say this is a new experience for me as well.
All right, let's go on to Harry.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. No, not Harry Potter.
Hello, Disco fans from Men. It's Harry here from Finland again. Just calling in on a little bit of a downtime here, waiting for the round to start at the Europort Tour opener that we're running in Finland. First event to have UDisc live in Europe. Just a quick shameless plug there. Anyway, I'm calling in for Mr. McCall mainly. I'm just curious. Is this a Team DD plan for the year? I hear Paige has played a lot of tournaments, a lot of courses blind, which I hadn't had time to practice. And now Janne Hirsimäki, another Team DD member here, he went out and beat Skogby Open, I think it is, a couple of weeks ago, blind without practicing it, and he's over here. He shot a 7 down on the first round with 2 bogeys. He's only 2 off the lead without practicing, of course, and I can attest to that because I've been here building it, so I haven't seen him. I know he's played it cold. I'm just wondering if this is a Robert, if you've told the guys this is the best way to go, if our listeners should be in on this plan to is this the way to win tournaments? Just go in cold and figure it out.
It's a really good question. I think that you're probably making an undue association that I tell the players how to manage their tournaments, and I'm not making fun of you, I promise. But at the end of the day, my job for the Dynamic Discs and Latitude and Westside players is for me to make sure that they're supported and that they have what they need and they're upholding their end of the deal as we're upholding our end of the deal. So if players decide to go to a tournament several days in advance and get lots of practice because that's what they want to do and that's their plan, then yeah, do that, please. And if it so ends up being like Paige, whenever she got to, where did she play blind? What did he say? One of the tournaments
somewhere.
I think it was Waco or I don't know. A lot of the time she doesn't get there extremely early and has to play the course a little bit blind from time to time, or at least on less practice than she would prefer. Sometimes that's just out of necessity. It's not out of instruction or anything like that. I think if you asked any top player if they would prefer to have 5 practice rounds on the course or no practice rounds, every last one of them is going to take 5 because they want to prepare. They want to be ready to go.
I don't know about that.
Okay, I'm ready.
I can think of one who had the opportunity and absolutely did not a few weekends ago.
Talk to me.
For GBO, when Steve Hill was here doing the player interviews, I don't think we put this one out, but Simon Lazat sat in this chair and said that he played 1 practice round at the country club and was like, all right, I'm just going to throw stuff far and make it up as I go.
I get that. That makes sense, but it's also, I wouldn't say that's everybody's strategy, right? Like,
Simon is very unique.
Yes, in that he can throw far enough for that course to not be super hard for him. Mm-hmm. The landing zones are easy enough that he could just be like, yeah, I want to land here, then I'll land here, and then that's perfect. But I don't know. That's kind of an anomaly.
Yes, he is.
And by kind of, I mean definitely
100%.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from Aaron.
Hey guys, my name's Aaron. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I had a question about just the way you play golf. When you're like an intermediate rec player, you're obviously trying to play par golf because if you're playing a tournament, you play par golf, most likely you're going to be in the top or cashing positions. Whenever you get up to that next level open, is it birdie golf? Is it situational? How is the mindset there compared to when you're an intermediate or rec player? Yeah, thanks, guys.
That's a great question. What do you think?
I'm a little bit better than intermediate and rec. So I'm not mad at pars, and I'll try and get my birdies when I can, when I have a good enough drive or something like that. But it's not often where I'm like, I have to birdie this hole.
Or that's the end of the event.
Yeah, like if I par this hole, I'm very mad. The only time is like if it's like hole 2 at Jones East. It's just a 300-foot, fairly wide open. There's 2 or 3 trees, maybe.
Right.
That kind of a situation, then yeah, I'm going to attack that. But if it's just something that 3 times out of 10 I'll birdie it, I'm not going to be mad at parring it the other 6, bogey it once. I'm okay with par on that hole. But yeah, for you, like playing open, you have to get birdies.
Yeah, there are very few tournaments that I've gone to where a score of even on the weekend or even 2 or 3 under course par wins the event, right? So yeah, I think the mentality is different based on the division that you're playing. There are players playing open and advanced who have I guess more experience with their physical capabilities so that they can reach some of those holes and have birdie opportunities. If you're playing intermediate or recreational, if you have those same opportunities to reach those spots, that's great. But I don't think you probably wouldn't be losing out as much missing on birdies. So playing for par is not a bad idea. For me, I almost always try and play for birdie off the tee. Unless it's a hole that I know I will never, ever birdie and playing for birdie would be a mistake, then I play for birdie off the tee. If I'm in a good spot, I'll still attack for birdie. If I'm in a bad spot, all right, I'm figuring out how to get my par. That's just kind of how I break holes up. And Paige and I have actually talked about this quite a bit since I've caddied for her quite a bit at different events at Worlds and things like that, and that's exactly how she plays. She takes an aggressive tee shot almost all the time, very, very rarely lays up, but once she's in a spot off the tee where she can't get birdie, then it's like, okay, birdie's out of the question, let's figure out how to get par, and then she'll dissect the hole that way. So instead of covering, trying to make a hero 350 foot forehand out of a small gap in the woods, she'll throw 100 feet into the fairway, throw 250 feet up to the basket, secure the par, and move on to the next one. I do think there's a difference in strategy, but almost everybody can play for birdie off the tee if it's within your capability. Yeah.
All right, next one comes from Scott. He says, I have a lot of friends I'd love to get into disc golf, but the cost is really a limiting factor for them. So my question is, if you could only spend, say, $50 a year, what would you put in your bag? Probably an old backpack because you can't afford a real bag.
Okay.
Would you buy cheaper, lower quality plastics or used disc so you could fill your bag out more, or buy more durable plastics so they hold up?
I would use 10 of that $50 to play at Clover Cliff Ranch one time.
Just for the, yeah.
I'm just
the
kidding.
other 40 to buy discs to play with.
That's right.
There you go.
Beautiful course. We have that just put in an Emporia, and it's been awesome. Real answer to your question, I would probably buy used discs. I think that's the play for anyone on a budget. You are going to get them in different stages of wear, so they might not be exactly like a new disc would fly, right? So you may pick up a Bio Enforcer, and it turns right for you out of the box, and you're like, oh, this is my favorite distance driver. Well, if you do end up getting a new one, it probably won't act quite the same. So there's even more variability when you get into used discs, but that's going to give you the most bang for your buck.
Yeah. And with used discs too, I personally would look for the more premium plastics, the Fusions,
Definitely.
Lucid, stuff like that, because if you find a used Prime Judge, I mean, that thing could have no life left in it.
Yeah.
Where a brand new Prime Judge, that'll last you a year, that'll last you 2 years if you're just putting with it or whatever. But if you find one that someone's already used for a year and a half, after 6 months, 8 months of throwing that thing, you might not like it. And then one thing that I would do is, especially in the summer, I really like having like a sport sack or a whale sack or something to dry your hands with, because I find myself wiping my hand on my pants a lot, or on your shirt or a towel or something like that. But I really like having a dry hand, not sweating. But as far as discs, yeah, I like the premium used. It's the way to do it.
I'm with you.
I mean, how much does a used disc usually cost?
Like our misprints usually go for, I don't know, $8, $10, somewhere in there for the premium plastics. Yeah.
But that's not a used disc. That's just a misprint.
Oh yeah. Misprints. Yeah. the used ones can go, I mean, anywhere from, $5, $6 for the cheaper ones.
Because I was thinking
10,
misprints would be a good.
Misprints would be a great idea.
$10 and you've fit, 50. I mean, depending on how much you spend on a bag, but once you have that bag, you have it. I mean, 5 discs a year could get you going.
That's plenty.
Yeah,
and we usually do misprint packs. They're often not put together to make a bag for somebody,
right?
But that's a good bang for your buck as far as discs go.
Yeah,
sweet,
nailed it.
Bobby, do you think we nailed it or what?
Yeah, I'm just reading this question. It's for me, but I don't know if I want to read it on the air. Okay, we will go to a different one. This one is from Rick. Sorry. I don't want to read this one because it might be offensive. It's a joke. This is just something that they sent me. I did not say this.
You are the messenger.
Rick asks, do vegetarians call their overstable discs beefy? Just curious. Doesn't Eagle call his something different, or he mentions something where he doesn't want to call his overstable
Does he really?
disc beefy?
I haven't heard that, but that's very funny.
That's really funny.
So, let's go on to Mr. Isaac. I have 2 questions. 2 for the price of 1.
Oh, no.
First, when I'm putting within the circle, I putt directly at the basket, no hyzer or drop. My question is, what should I do when I get out to farther putts? Should I do the same or get a little drop?
This is 100% a Robert question.
Okay. I don't know, man. If you feel comfortable doing something inside the circle, I would do close to that same thing outside the circle were it up to me, right? My putt from 25 looks pretty identical to my putt from 40 or so. My putt has a little bit of hyzer on it naturally. If I'm pretty nervous, then a lot of hyzer. Don't worry about it. And once I get a little farther from the circle, I do need to change my aiming point just a bit.
I was going to ask that, yeah.
Yeah, but in general, I don't try and do like different flights or anything like that. I just kind of try and hit the same line that I would from 25 as I would from 40 or 45. Past that, I need to put a little bit more height on it so that it can get to the basket. But I'm not switching from my hybrid kind of putt to more of a pitch putt to keep it close. I want to give it a chance to go in.
I'm finding myself when I can't tell you the number of distance, but when I'm at a certain distance, I find myself literally not even aiming at the basket, but aiming up to the right, way off somewhere.
Yep.
And it's worked for me, a few times. So
that's exactly what I do too.
Yeah.
The farther away I am, the higher and right I'll go.
Yeah.
I just always want to give those putts a chance to go in without being so aggressive that I just spin past it. You know what I mean?
I literally, Isaac, I'm going to have to apologize right now. I literally deleted the question and did not look at the second part.
Sorry, Isaac.
Oops, sorry, Isaac. Send that question in again.
Please.
Raymond asked, let me hurry up and ask before I delete it.
You got really mad, I guess.
I know, sorry. I'm looking for an overstable mid. I know that Bobby loves the suspect. Boy, do I love that suspect.
He throws the suspect quite well.
But I think I would rather throw a slammer when I'm within range for that. Here's the thing. I actually have a suspect and a slammer, and I do go back and forth depending on how close I am to the basket and how much room I have
to work
it into the hyzer. He says, I like my overstable mid to have a little more range than a suspect, but a little more fade than the EMAC Truth.
Okay, great.
I would think a suspect
we
would
have a disc for that.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have a verdict, but
I've narrowed my choices down to the DD Verdict.
Okay, good.
The Westside Discs Barred.
Okay, good.
And the Latitude 64
Anchor.
Yep, Anchor.
Wow.
Could you talk about how these 3 discs differ and which one you would prefer out of that lineup?
I can. So you've probably thrown a few more anchors than me, so I'll let you talk about that.
Okay.
I've thrown the Verdict and the Barred. I'd say quite a bit. The Barred, right when it first came out, I threw that all the time. So we'll start off with the Westside Discs Barred. It is not quite as long as a Verdict, not quite as long as an EMAC Truth. It is a step up in speed from a Suspect, but it's quite overstable. So it's not going to be just as overstable, but I say the Barred and the Anchor have really close stabilities. The Barred may have it by just a touch, but man, I've thrown some really overstable anchors.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I think that is a great option for you, it's not really going to be an extension of the suspect. It's going to have more of a steep or extreme angle at the end of the flight than the suspect will, where it likes to go straight and just kind of subtly finish to the left. The Verdict would be kind of more like an extension of the suspect. Similar stability, but I could count on mine for another 50 feet than a suspect for me. Talk about the anchor.
Like you said, the anchor is really similar to the Bard. It is going to be farther than your suspect, but it's also a lot more overstable. As of like a week ago, I had both in my bag, and there was never once a situation where I thought, man, I could throw the suspect or the anchor here. It was always, they're very different. The anchor is considerably deeper. It's a good bit faster and a really good bit more overstable.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. If you're looking for a longer verdict or a longer suspect, the Verdict is the way to go. I think that's the closest thing for sure. I think it agree.
Definitely.
And heavy lucid verdicts.
I've been carrying, just as of late, I've been carrying an Anvil from Westside Discs. Those are just in the team and kind of first run prototyping stages right now. The Anvil's more kind of like a throwable Justice, right? Something that you can actually get to fly even a little bit, but has that same kind of overstable finish and just overstable full flight, like a Justice or like a Bard or something like that. Not much overlap between that and the Verdict. For you, I'd recommend a Verdict for sure.
Real quick, someone on YouTube asked, Bobby, what is your favorite distance driver? It really depends on the wind and the shot, but I'm usually grabbing either a Trespass or Renegade, and actually the Maverick, even though it's a fairway driver, that slower speed actually allows me to control that and get it really out there. So there's often times when we're out playing a casual round here lately, and I'll throw a Trespass and a Maverick, and the Trespass won't be that much farther than the Maverick, and the Maverick typically is in the middle of the fairway, where the Trespass faded a little harder to the left.
There's something to that really quick. I know this isn't one of the questions, but as your arm speed increases, then you can throw discs to make them do what they're supposed to do, right? If you have a bit slower arm speed like Bobby, Bobby doesn't crush discs, but he is by no means a beginner. The Maverick or slower speed discs like that will benefit your game so much more than trying to step into a distance driver, because you can control it. You can give it the speed required to make it do what it's supposed to do. And so I would say, I've been throwing the Getaway a lot lately. The Getaway is a speed 9. I've got, I've got defenders in the bag. I've got enforcers. I'm probably throwing the Getaway only 40 or 50 feet shorter than those discs sometimes. And it's just a really consistent speed and stability for me. And it's a little bit more forgiving because it's slower than those. So I lean on that a lot.
Yeah. Yesterday on hole 13 at East, you threw the Ballista Pro and the Getaway.
Yeah.
And it was, I had 20 feet short.
Yeah.
And the Ballista Pro goes far.
Super far.
Real far.
Yeah, and I would say the Getaways weren't even, they weren't misses by any means, but I didn't fully connect on them.
Yeah.
And so, playing to your arm speed on something like that, super important.
I'm actually thinking about not putting a disc when we were playing Clover Cliff. Something hit me and said, you know what? I am no longer going to put anything over speed 12, which is a Trespass, correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I'm not even going to.
For you,
I have
a
captain in there. I have a queen, and I couldn't get it to do what it's supposed to do, and I'm just, why force it?
Right.
I'm just going to take those out,
Just
have my
use what
Trespass,
you can.
Renegade, and Maverick.
Yeah, for you, if you can throw a Maverick on a hole, throw it.
Right.
That's that's the same for me with a Warden or an EMAC Truth. If I can throw that disc, guaranteed I'm throwing that.
Yeah.
I love slower spinning discs because they're a little bit more forgivable.
Yeah. If you're curious, also, let's see. So
let's try that again. Forgivable would imply that they had done something wrong, and
which a Maverick would never do.
It would never do anything wrong.
Never do that.
It's definitely me. Go
So Anthony's disc is the Maverick, but if you're curious what disc Danny Lindahl is excited about, that is the new Dynamic Disc Getaway.
And it's worth being excited about 100%. Right out of the gate, I thought, you know what? The Explorer came out. I really like that. I'm going to stick with the Explorer. So I didn't give the Getaway much practice or anything. And that was a mistake. Yeah. They don't overlap that much. The Getaway is so much faster and more overstable. They both have a great slot in my bag. You absolutely must check out the Dynamic Disc Getaway. Super good. I'm not even gassing it because it's one of our products. It is worth your while. Check it out.
You can have gas all you want. So,
dude, gas. I'm hyping it, gassing it. That's what.
Next one comes from Tyler. He asks, as a father that works extremely long hours in close proximity to others, I prefer to just play some tunes and throw some discs alone without having to join groups for small talk. To each, you do you. And I'll do me. I often get harassed in San Diego. Never mind the fact that I patiently waited a long time while 2 or 3 large groups threw 30 feet 10 times as I painfully watch and respect their opportunity to play. Should I be forced into a group? Is playing through rude? I understand a hole or two, but the whole round. Thanks. I mean, there's no rules. There's no set rules. You're just going to run into this in life, in whatever, that some people will, if I was in a group and I saw a guy just playing by himself, typically we tell him, hey, why don't we let this guy play through? So, you shouldn't be forced into a group. You shouldn't feel rude that you want to play by yourself. If you want to play by yourself, play by yourself. But just know that no matter what you're doing in life, you're going to encounter some people that are rude themselves or are understandable and will let you do what you want to do.
Right. I don't ever view playing through as rude at all. Mm-hmm. If I'm with a bigger group and there's a person or two behind us who are playing quickly enough to pass us, man, pass on through. That's fine. Don't throw in on us. I promise. I promise I will give you the opportunity to play through. Now, yes, that is rude.
Yeah.
However, say he's in San Diego and maybe he's talking about Morley Field. Playing by yourself is probably going to be a little bit more difficult at Morley Field just because it's so very busy.
That's insane.
I mean, that's just people start playing out there starting at 6 a.m. and just they're there all day.
And that's something you're just going to have to understand.
That's just
the
part
nature
of
of the beast, is that you have a course that's popular, or for whatever reason there's a lot of people out there. You're just going to have to know that you're just going to have to figure out something different. Go to a different course. Go try to find a time where there's not a lot of people out there, and take advantage of that.
Yeah.
All right. Next one comes from Sean.
Hey, how you doing, guys? So I had a quick question. I've been playing for about a little under a year now, almost a full year, and I've played mostly C tier tournaments. I love playing competitively. I think it's a great way to improve my game, but I just love meeting new people, and because everyone in the community, in the disc golf community, is just so friendly, and so I love doing it. And so, but I've only played C tier so far, and I was curious, as a generally new player, should I only be doing C tiers? Should I be doing B tiers and even A tiers? I mean, is A tiers only for close to professional players, or is it something that even recreational players who are working on their game can do too? I wasn't sure exactly the major differences rather between A tiers, B tiers, and C tiers. So if you guys give me a little bit of advice and clear this issue up for me, that'd be great. Thank you very much, and keep it real, guys.
The fact that I am playing in an A tier this weekend is proof that you do not have to be a good disc golfer to play in A tiers.
That is not why I pointed at you, but it's funny that you said that.
No, it's really just the size of the tournament. C tiers are a lot smaller, and then
they have less added cash.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The bigger, B tier is going to be a step up, A tier is a step up, and then you've got national tours and that kind of stuff. But no, you don't have to be good at all. The only things that you have to be good to play in are like Worlds, where it's invite only. Mm-hmm. But you can play,
at least out of the gate. Then usually they open it up for
if there's
open registration
spots.
if they have spots.
Yeah, but no, you don't have to be. As long as they offer different skill levels, you can sign up. As long as you have the entry fee money, you're good.
Yeah,
you can play anything.
That's going to be the big limiting factor. Is just A tiers are going to cost more money than C tiers and B tiers. But otherwise, man, go play there. Enjoy. Yeah. Try playing with. You're probably going to play with different people than you've played with before if you go to an A tier, and that could be a really good experience. Mm-hmm. Just to see what else is possible. I love getting to go to A tiers because most of the time I'm playing with people I either haven't played with before or don't get to play with often.
Yeah.
Waco earlier this year, Mike Conley is my boy. I really like Mike
Super
Conley.
Cool dude.
Great dude. We got to play together in Waco. I had played with him once before and wouldn't have an opportunity to otherwise. Yeah. So it's really fun.
Yeah, I think my first sanctioned tournament, it was either my first or second, was Glassblown Open.
Nice.
The fact that you've only been playing for a year and you're already playing C tiers and stuff.
It's awesome.
Most people hear tournament, oh, I'm not good, I can't play that. You don't have to be good.
Get in there, play some tournaments, have fun.
Yep.
If you suck, so be it. Everybody's bad sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Or most of the time.
Some more than others.
Wait, what?
I'm sorry. What?
Wait, pardon me, what?
I'm sorry.
Who bought those burritos, though?
I did my burritos. Hopefully you guys follow me on Facebook during the weekends when I go out and play some disc golf. I like to go live and have fun on social media. And we had our second match between myself, Anthony, and Robert. Danny joined us for the second round of our triple dipple ripple throwdown.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called now?
Every time I talk about it,
We've actually never called it that, but
it's a new name every time I talk about it. But we played for burritos, for breakfast burritos. There's a place called El Toro.
Tortas El Toro.
Yep. And we go there for breakfast burritos.
There's appropriate handicaps given out.
Yes, there's handicaps given out, and I lost twice so far.
Yeah, Bobby didn't have a great
I don't know
round
that,
our
I'm
second
not so
time.
how appropriate. Yeah, yeah.
But it was also
some
really
good
windy.
putts, though, but
You putted great. It's just, when it's windy, that affects, our distance can make up for enough that if you miss a shot short, the wind is going to affect it a lot more for you than it is for us. Maybe we're OB, but we're way the heck up the fairway. If you're
Obviously.
OB, at least
us.
farther up the fairway. You know what I'm saying? So anyway,
So I've lost twice. So we've all had fun having breakfast burritos on my behalf.
on Bobby. Thanks,
And,
Bobby.
so it's really nice because I have no friends. So it's the only way I can hang out with people is to buy them.
That's right. I promise I'll buy your food if you just come hang out.
Okay, so we are at the halfway point, and with Eric McCabe being out of here, not here. We had Anthony on here, but we're going to have Danny come in for the second half.
Oh, so dude.
And he has his glasses on, so I guess he's ready to answer some questions. So me and Robert will talk about Trilogy Challenge discs while Anthony goes under the table.
Good luck, dude.
Good luck goes under the table.
Nobody.
See ya, man.
This, please.
So as I've talked before, the Trilogy Challenge is an event where you get to try 3 unreleased discs from Dynamic Discs, Westside Discs, and Latitude 64. In the pack this year, you're going to have the Westside Discs Maiden, which is a shallow putter. We threw these for our Is This Disc Right For You videos, and I'd say this is a pretty straight putter.
Yeah.
For the both of us.
Surprisingly so, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we have for the mid-range, the Dynamic Discs Patrol. This is a mid-range, an understable mid-range, but I think a lot of skill levels should be able to utilize this mid-range. I know when I threw it, it went very straight into a tailwind, into a headwind. It turned quite a bit, but I know Robert even was able to go down to about
40-50%.
40-50% was able to get a good straight controlled shot.
And you can something great about the Patrol is, say you're in tight woods and hyzer is your natural release and you've got 150 200 foot shot. This is going to be really great for that because you can throw it so slowly and it'll just tip up to flat. It's very nice. And
then we have the driver is the Latitude 64 Musket, and this is very if you're familiar with an Escape, it feels very escapish. How would you describe this flight, Robert?
Yeah, probably a little bit more overstable than an Escape. I think it was pretty nice and neutral. A bit more fade than something like an Escape, but less than something like an Explorer. I think it's going to be a really usable stability and speed for a lot of people.
Excellent. So we try to have these as a all skill level beginnerish type discs. So you're if you're a pro that's like 1,000 rated or whatever, it may not be the most exciting event for you, but you might be able to try some of these discs out. I know that I think it was Roncon was thinking the Patrol might actually be a roller disc.
He'll probably throw that. He loved the Discraft Stratus.
Yeah.
And it's extremely understable as just kind of like a trick shot, out of the woods sort of thing. And I think this would probably fit that spot for him. And it would probably fit that spot for a lot of people.
Right. So trilogychallenge.com, find an event, like I mentioned before, find an event near you, and you'll be able to pick up 3 unreleased discs. I know a lot of people will play multiple events because they fall in love with a certain disc mold. I know last year I actually traded some people my
many people.
Yeah, I ended up with like 8 deputies within the first 2 weeks of Trilogy Challenge. So if you fall in love with one of the molds, go play some more and do some tradesies.
Tradesies.
You're the sheriff and you have to have a lot of deputies.
Yes, I do. I need a lot of deputies.
Police force, very strong.
So now we have Danny Lindahl with us. He's here. He's got his Make Me Smart glasses on.
Well, these are for when I talk about the flight number.
That's right. That's right.
So we're on Disc Golf Instrument.
He's going to be on here and he's going to help us answer some questions. Hey-oh.
He's a regular guy now.
He's a regular guy now.
Because we're on Answer Man. We can talk about flight.
He's way less smart than before. I'll just tell you that.
All right. This first one is from Nathan. and it says wrong thing. Now it's Nathan.
Hello, Disc Golf Answer people. Can you all tell me the difference between the Longbowman and the Convict? I currently throw the Longbowman. I like it for overstable fairway shots, but I'd like to try the Convict as well. Is there any overlap between the two? All right, thank you for the podcast. I love listening to it all the time, and I'm looking for the episode when Robert eclipses 1,000 rating. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.
You'll be waiting a long
I was going to say,
time.
based on my last 2 events, you might be waiting for a minute, but still got plenty of golf left. Plenty of.
So there's a lot of
tournaments
year left.
Yeah.
There's a few months left.
Convict versus
Thanks.
Longbowman.
Thanks for the belief. I appreciate you. Not everyone here does, so thank you. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
So Convict versus Longbowman. I would say the Convict has more turn, but they both have that fade at the end. So the Convict is going to be a little bit easier to get to fly straight, and that fade is more to counteract any Anheuser angle that it gets. But the Longbowman is just going to be sort of straight out of your hand with the same gentle, like a later fade than a Felon, but similar flight.
That's correct.
There you go. Next one is from Justin.
That's all I'm here for, is just to confirm
Hey,
people.
Disc
You're like
Golf
a hype
Answer Man. Justin from St. Louis. I've been playing for a few years and haven't found many drills to help isolate tendon bounce or snap outside of the hammer or the Beto drill. While I may be strong-arming the disc for consistent 325 to 350 foot drives, what are some drills and techniques to really highlight proper wrist movement?
So if you're looking for drills, they have them at Home Depot or Menards.
Get out of here. No, disc golf drills.
I don't really like
I
drills.
prefer Lowe's.
Lowe's, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I don't really like drills. I think practicing drills is a great way to learn how to do drills, but then you're trying to throw frisbees, and it's a completely different motion.
Yep.
So my advice would be, if you're working on that, is to go out and film yourself. And so you can see what your shot looks like. And if you change your shot and it feels right, that means you're probably doing it wrong, because it feels like the muscle memory from before. But your question was drills. I could do some drills. So you talked about the Beto drill, and you're talking about wrist extension. The thing is, you don't really extend your wrist. The wrist stays fairly neutral the whole time, and it's your elbow that comes through and gets the extension. If you're curling your wrist, chances are your shoulders are turned in front of the disc, and that's not going to be very helpful. So I guess a wall drill is a really good drill. That's where you stand with your right foot kind of sort of close to a wall, your left foot a few inches further back, and then you can reach back and make sure your arm stays flat against the wall the whole time. Just watch out for light switches. They hurt. I'm trying to think of any other drills. Not really that I can think of.
I like that one a lot, but I agree with you. I'm very much in the camp of throw to learn, right? At the end of the day, you can do this drill perfectly, and that's cool, but and it can definitely be helpful for you, but at the end of the day, you need to be throwing discs. If you're trying to improve, video yourself, start making some adjustments. And usually I try to focus on one adjustment at a time, right? If it looks like your footwork may be setting you up for your wrist to be doing something it shouldn't, work on one at a time. Start with your footwork, then, something like that.
Yeah. And he talked about the Beto right pec drill. So that's where you stand with the disc right here, and then you just throw it from there. You just turn your shoulders and throw it. And I think that the drill is better done if you start on your left pec, because on your right pec, that opens up this shoulder joint here for the video people, the live people.
Yes.
So the left, it keeps that joint closed, and that's where you want it. You want this joint to be 90 degrees all the time. So try doing it from your left pec, just because that is actually throwing.
Yep.
But mostly just throw.
Yeah.
Well, we brought up drills. And something Muncie from Disc Golf Strong
Seth.
talked about. Seth, yes, I forgot his first name. Seth Muncie from Disc Golf Strong. He said you got to be really careful with drills, because when you're out there, if you're just out there on a field and just throwing, you're like really stressing your body out, because you're just like, bam, and then you pick up another one like 2 seconds later.
Right.
Bam, and then you pick up another one. Bam, and you're just throwing them as far as you can, and that's a lot on your body. At least in a tournament or a casual round, you're throwing, and then you're waiting for everybody else to throw. You're walking to the next. You're putting out, then you're walking, so your body gets a little bit of chance to recoup. So just be real careful when you're just throwing right after the other. You got to give your body a chance to kind of take a break between each throw. So
That's part of why filming helps, because you throw and then you go watch the film, and you can sort of evaluate what to do.
Next one comes from Doug.
Hey, Disc Golf Answer Man. I have a question about casual doubles. My play group is split pretty evenly between A players and B players, namely players who are shooting for birdie versus players who are shooting for par. And since I started, we would pair an A with a B and just play stroke play. But pretty recently, the consensus, the majority was that we should pair A's with A's and B's with B's and give the B teams a handicap. And I guess the logic behind it is that if the B players don't have an A to lean on, their shots will have more consequence, and a player playing for something and having their shots actually count may make them get better, and all boats rise with the tides. I just wanted to get your opinion on, do you think that A's should be paired with B's for pace of play purposes, especially if it's a casual round? Does pace even matter? Or do you think it's better to pair A's with A's and B's with B's and give a handicap? And then secondly, does your opinion change if there are tags or money involved? Thanks a lot, guys. Keep it real.
Good question. During a casual round, I don't think pace is super important. I mean, as long as you all know where you need to be at what time, then I don't know. I don't think as long as you're letting people through if they're coming up behind you, no problem on pace of play. You could really go about it either way. I like the idea of A with A, B with B with a handicap so that those shots matter, but that can also be demoralizing if they're just getting crushed on every shot. Yeah. I mean, there's not much fun about that. So if it were me, I would mix it up. I prefer, if it was just me picking, I prefer playing A with B, A with B. The B player can learn from the A player. You know, they get to use some of their shots if they throw a great shot. Then if we're playing doubles, I'll always let my partner go first. If I'm the A player in the situation, if I'm the B player, then awesome, I'll go first every time. But if I'm the A player in the situation, I always let the B player go first so that they have the experience of leading us off, trying to make every putt, trying to make every upshot, things like that. I think that's a good way to do it. If there's money changing hands, then it's all just a gentleman's agreement. So I don't think there are really any rules for that. It's just, I guess there aren't any rules.
Yeah, I think definitely having most recently been a B player, being a B player playing with an A player is a lot more fun than just B players and B players, because you have a chance to say, like, what was it? Me and Lupe yesterday,
right,
at East shot a 44.
Pretty stout.
It's pretty dang awesome.
That's not bad.
Like, I can't do that by myself, and now Lupe gets to be a part of that too. And Lupe's, I wouldn't call him a B player on a normal day.
No,
he's pretty good at disc golf, but still, it's like, I don't know. You're
the higher
part
rated of the two players for sure.
But as a B player, you're part of that.
Exactly.
Right. You get to say, like, I couldn't have done that by myself. I couldn't have done that without Lupe because he jammed like 50-foot putts. Mm-hmm. But that's, I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Let me throw this monkey wrench into there.
Oh, I'm ready. If you can dodge a wrench.
A C and a D player want to play. What do you do?
Say, get out of here.
Get out of here. Get your own say.
Yeah, go play Ultimate. And no, I'm just
random flip.
So we have one on the Google Forms that's very similar. Worm,
like asks from Round Rock.
It just says WRM Worm.
Okay.
It says, "Hey, cool daddy, slick breeze." Or no, he says, "Hey, daddy, cool slick breeze." No, he says, "Hey, daddy, cool breeze," of the slick kind. Eric Lightsaber McCabe and Robert Legend of the Fall McCall.
I've heard worse.
Okay. We have a small disc golf club in my hometown and have had some dispute lately on the best format for our Sunday minis.
Yeah.
We want to make it fair for all skill levels to be able to win. Would a handicap system be best? If so, how do you determine what a person's handicap will be? Or would you divide the group into divisions and pay out accordingly, usually between 5 to 12 players?
I like divisions.
TOTDGB. P. What does that mean? TOTDGP. Totally on top disc golf player.
Top of Texas disc golf something. Professionals.
Yay.
All right, go ahead.
Projects.
I've never played a handicap league.
I have.
All I've played is other one.
I've played handicaps before. I do not like handicaps. You
win burritos.
Well, yeah, I'm good with that. But for an ongoing league where you have a regular handicap, I've played in a handicap league before where I would have had to shoot better than 18 under par to win. And that shouldn't be the case. Like, handicaps are just so hard to manage properly, so that, one time I got beat by a younger kid in Abilene whose handicap was 40 something, right? And he shot something in the 90s, and with his handicap, it would have been like, I don't even remember what it was. I remember thinking I would have had to beat the course record by 4 or 5 and ace a hole in the process to do that. I'm not like bitter about it. I mean, the kid gets the win. That's really cool.
You sound bitter.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm bitter about it. But for me, I just don't think handicaps quite do that as well as we think they do.
Yeah, but then what do you do with these people that...
I like divisions.
Oh, okay.
A division, B division, C.
Does that kind of split up the money? I mean, what if there's like...
Yeah.
I mean,
if 2 A players show up and 10 B players show up, then the B players are playing for
more money.
Yep. Should have been worse.
What
A
about
players,
the C and D players?
They're overplaying ultimate.
Okay. What about just splitting the money 50-50 and having the A players play for their half and the B players play for their half?
I would just have the players play for the money that they brought into their division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I won't think ever again.
No, I'd be cool with it, but like, all right, say I'm a B player, there's 12 players there, there's 10 B players and 2 A players, and now all of a sudden the 10 B players are only playing for 6 players worth of money. I mean,
if you're an upper B player, jump up.
Well, yeah.
Crush them.
Yeah.
Now that I know this, your thoughts on handicap, next time it's the challenge of all 4 of us for breakfast burritos, we are going to have divisions now.
Okay.
you and Anthony will be in division. I'll be in my own division.
Okay.
We'll see how I play.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I might win my division.
That sounds good.
I'll caddy for you.
All right, thanks. Next one is from Missouri Golfer 21, I'm assuming Mo Golfer. Hello. No, Missouri's...
MO is Missouri.
Yeah,
he just wants more golf, though.
Yeah.
Mo Golf.
Mo Golf. Hello, Disc Golf Answer My Crew. I've been playing for 2 years, although not consistently. This year, I have been playing more frequently and have even joined a weekly league. I'm starting to notice a pain and soreness in my shoulder and shoulder blade area after playing. I'm curious if this might be due to a lack of fitness and winter laziness or a symptom of a larger problem, perhaps bad form. I know my form isn't perfect, but I feel it's coming along nicely. Thanks for your input, Tim. First, before anybody says anything. We are not doctors. We're not even physical therapists. We barely take care of our own physical bodies.
I went to school for a bunch of years,
Yeah.
so I might as well be a doctor at this point, but that's okay.
I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah, that's right.
So
I can tell you. Okay.
So my point is, a lot of times we give this advice based off our experiences, and then we get people saying, "No, he needs to do that." We're not skilled professional physicians. That being said, we may have a little experience to share with you. One thing I want to touch on before you guys get into the even more technical thing is that you say you don't play. You've been playing for 2 years, although not consistently. Another thing that Disc Golf Strong told me that I thought was good is that a lot of people will get into disc golf and they'll get super excited about disc golf and then they'll be playing for like every day for the next 3 or 4 weeks or a month. They're like, how often do you play? I play about 4 or 5 times a week. That is a lot of stress on your body. And you might be thinking, well, at least I'm outside. It's a walk in the park. Absolutely. But you are putting a lot of stress on your body when you're out there throwing a disc just over and over again, 18 times, whatever times it takes you to get to play a complete round. So that's something to keep in mind. But more even technical.
I'm sure you're going to talk about the form side, so talk about the form side.
So said the pain was coming like in his shoulder towards the back. That joint isn't supposed to bend at all during the throw. If you're pulling straight, your reach back from like here up, your upper body looks like this, and then you pull the disc in, your arm comes in, and then as you throw, your arm comes out. So this joint never changes. So it sounds like you're turning your shoulders and trying to whip your arm way away from your body. And that's definitely not going to help. So pull your arm in. Get your hand on the outside of the disc, because if your hand's out here, it's on the front. So get your hand on the outside, get your elbow up leading, and that's going to help not have this joint be moving, so it's not going to be taking that torque. Because lots of times I see people, they turn their shoulders and their arm is still going backwards, and so then they sort of slam their arm together, and that puts a lot of torque right on that joint. So definitely focus on using your elbow and reaching back more deliberately rather than swinging the discs.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take the shouldn't play quite as much side of it. So I'll agree. There's definitely form issues that cause people to have pain. No doubt about it. I've had like basically tennis elbow from throwing forehands improperly, but I was throwing them like all the time. And any injuries that I've had that weren't just like, I injured my knee playing disc golf, but it was a snap thing. It wasn't repeated abuse. It was just my foot planted in mud and didn't turn at all, and my torso rotated around it as it normally does. That sucks. Otherwise, things like this, it was not cool. Things like this are probably more just chronic overuse, right? I mean, it can definitely be a form thing. Fix your form, do that. But if you haven't been playing a lot, kind of like Bobby said, and now you're jumping into it every single day, you're going to have to adapt to it. Like, you're going to have to build the muscles that surround that and make that stronger so that you don't have that sort of pain.
And just for our live viewers, actually, Disc Golf Strong is on here. Hopefully I didn't misquote you, Disc Golf Strong. I think I said what you've told me before that I think is good information.
Also, go check out Disc Golf Strong.
Yes, check out discgolfstrong.com. A lot of excellent information out there, and I think as the sport matures and people, more and more people get into it, they're going to start to realize, especially these top touring pros, that you've got to do things while you're not on the course to take care of your body to be able to play much longer.
Yeah, you're not invincible.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You are invincible, but everyone else is not invincible.
So real quick, let's take a quick break from the questions. I want to talk about match play. So we said earlier that match play, the state brackets are happening for the singles, and what's getting ready to happen is we're going to have the doubles competition coming up. The doubles, the local qualifying brackets are set for July of this year, and then we'll move on to the state brackets. That'll be in August, and the championship brackets is in Emporia, Kansas. I can hear you guys whispering.
Sorry. Answering the question in the chat. I shouldn't. Sorry.
So, championship bracket is in Emporia, Kansas, in September 28th through 30th. Let's see. You can sign up at discgolfmatchplay.com. You'll see a link, and that'll take you to Disc Golf Scene. I don't see a day. Do you know the day when it's actually going to start?
Not right off the top.
The registration. I'll see if I can find it as I'm looking here. I thought I had all the dates.
I do have people already hitting me up to stay in my apartment, though.
Nice.
Like, it's full, so it's already been claimed, but like that's how excited people are. They're like, if I win,
it's going to be super cool, man.
So probably going to win too. The final awards, the fourth place gets a $1,200 value with 2 portable Patriot baskets and $600 worth of dynamic disc store credit.
Nice.
Third place gets $2,000 value in store credit and veteran baskets. Second place gets 9 veteran baskets and 9 T signs to be used wherever the champion wants to. That's a $6,000 value. And then first place gets a $32,000 value with 18 veteran baskets and 18 T signs, and then discs for life or for the next 20 years.
It's pretty sweet.
That's a lot of frisbees.
Yeah. So the single brackets were very popular in a lot of areas. So we're super excited for the doubles bracket. Go to discgolfmatchplay.com to get more information. Now, if you're thinking, I'm a pro, I want to get in on this match play stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah. How dare you, Doug? I want to play too, man.
We're working on professional match play. They're still trying to figure things out, although I do know that registration is going to open as early as this Friday.
Whoa.
Which is what I've been hearing. So you guys better get ready. I'm actually going to my notes so I can tell you guys more about the pro side.
This microphone smells like a Nerf dart.
Thank you.
5th through 8th place will get $1,000 cash.
Come on.
4th place gets $3,000. 3rd place will get $5,000.
You know what? I'll just settle for that one. Somebody else can have first and second. I'll just take 3rd.
2nd place gets $10,000.
That's the one I want.
First place gets $15,000 cash.
That's awesome.
That is huge. OGO has stepped up in a big way to help support disc golf. They came and met with us, and they said, we want to help, and this was one way they thought would be good. A world champion match play. Total payout of $37,000, $15,000 going to the first place. 64-player match play bracketed to be completed from May 27th through November 1st. first, with the top pros competing for, like I said, $37,000.
That's a lot of dollars.
And huge shout out to Ogio.
Oh, yeah.
They are killing the game right now when it comes to supporting disc golf. David, Nate, and Jessica from Ogio came and were here during GBO, made the announcement about match play. And then if you go to discover.ogio.com, you can see some things that they've shared of disc golfers. So Paige Pierce is on there, as they're starting to sponsor a couple of disc golfers just for their bags and things like that. So Paige Pierce and Eric McCabe are both on there. They're featured on that website, and then they've also been featured, at least Paige was featured, on their Instagram account. And that's really, really cool for us to see a company with a reputation like Ogio, taking interest in the sport and promoting our players.
Yeah.
I love seeing that. So huge shout out to you guys. Thanks so much for your support. That's awesome.
They can do some big things for disc golf.
Definitely.
And we're working on the website, updating it for the World Championship. So discgolfmatchplay.com is going to be kind of the central hub for finding out all that information. But there'll be more information. In fact, me and Doug are going to do a live Q&A on Thursday night to kind of get more information out there about it. All right, we got time for a couple more questions. Let's see. Let's go to Zach.
EMAC, Robert, Bobby, Cool Daddy, Slick Breeze. What's going on? Zach from Pittsburgh.
Why is he
I
all
was
quiet?
just calling to ask a question for EMAC.
Oh, no.
So I threw a
So we
Ballista
save
Pro
this?
the other day by accident. I was really liking my setup with my defenders, but the Ballista Pro goes pretty far. I got a few around in my disc bin. Some of them are flatter, some of them are domey, some of them are heavy, light. What's the deal with these runs? Do the domey ones go farther? Do the flat ones go farther? Please don't answer this question, because I should just stick to throwing my defenders. But anyways, thanks. Have a good day.
Defenders go farther.
So does he want the question answered or not?
I'm just gonna answer it. I'm the most bearded of the three of us at the table, so I'll stand in for Eric.
I haven't shaved in 2 weeks. I'm trying.
Nice. Maybe next year.
Maybe one day.
Okay, so if Eric was sitting here, I'm sure he would tell you the Ballista Pros that he likes to throw have more dome and are on the heavier side, probably anywhere from 172 to 175, somewhere in there. He usually tends toward heavier discs and domier ones for distance drivers. If you come across a Ballista Pro that is a little bit flatter, I think what you'd likely see is a bit more turn at the front end, and then a kind of a little bit more fade at the back end. Flatter distance drivers, this is by and large, so don't hear it as a rule, but in something like a Ballista Pro, flatter ones tend to get a little more right movement and a little more left movement. Domey ones tend to hold lines just a little bit better across the board. It's a blanket statement. Do not apply it to all discs. I think that's the case with Ballista Pros.
And for ballistas versus defenders, I have to put the word in for the defender, right?
Okay, go ahead.
So when I got on my Ballista Pros, I went out and threw them side by side, and they landed pretty much in the same spot. But the Ballista Pro would flip over a little bit more and fade back a little bit more at the end. The defender would fly kind of straighter overall. So if you're looking for that big flex shot, then that's going to be the Ballista Pro. But if you want something that's going to be, for me, a little bit more controllable on the angles, then you're going to want to stick towards the defender.
Sweet.
Good stuff. All right, one last question for this episode. This one's from Matt. This is on practice routines. What's up, guys? Love what you have been doing for the sport. A little background on me. I'm currently working as a paramedic, and I have an awesome schedule that lets me play a lot. I work one 24-hour shift and then have 3 days off. Wow.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. I've been playing for almost a year now and am completely hooked. My question to you all is, with a schedule like mine, how would you optimize that time to improve play? Would you do 1 day field, 2 days of rounds, 2 days on the field, 1 day of rounds, et cetera, et cetera? Help a brother out.
I don't know if I would say that you couldn't do both on each day. I don't know, man. Again, it depends on how much you've been playing. If you're just jumping into it, then I would not recommend, throwing all your discs in a field 4 or 5 times and then going and playing around after. I would slowly work up to that. But if it were me, I'd probably spend some time in the field each day and then play around after if I had time for it. Why not?
Yeah, I think it is important to go in the field some too and not just play rounds.
Definitely.
Because that's been my big issue since moving here is there's great courses all over the place. I go throw them all the time.
Not great fields.
No, and there's not many great fields.
Yeah.
So I haven't been doing that. So I need to, I've been, this week mainly, I've been focused on getting back out in the field just to work on those shots, and it's helped a lot in my scores.
Yeah, I agree. I would focus on both. You need to have both. If all you do is field work, then you're practicing for something that you're never going to do. But if all you do is play rounds, then you're not going to improve nearly as quickly as if you spend time in a field.
Go for like an hour in the field and then go play a round. That's soundbite answer. That's the best I can tell you.
Do it.
All right, so we've got a couple. We've wrapped up with the question, but we'll go to YouTube. So this is for our YouTube viewers. We got a couple questions how we can get in here. Tyler wants to know, Danny, what's your favorite long course since moving to E-Town?
Opie Lake.
Yeah, he likes Opie a lot.
Why do you like Opie?
It's full power shots because most of the courses around here you have the OB to worry about. So you're worried about how your angle is going to be or where your shot's going to be. Opie's just a bunch of hyzers. I mean, they're placement shots, so you do have a little bit to worry about. And if you flip it over, you're going to go OB. So it's not like you can just grip it and rip it. But people tend to hate on the course because they think there's a lot of OB or you're going to lose discs all over the place. But if you just throw the right shot, you're going to be in the fairway. So I like Opie.
It's fun for sure.
Angelo asks, how is the Bolt compared to the Captain?
The Bolt to the Captain. The Bolt is very understable for a distance driver. The Captain is probably in the trespass range of stability. I've thrown a couple that have been a little bit more stable, and I've thrown a couple that have been a little bit less stable to me. And I mean, I wouldn't call myself a perfectly accurate judge of stability in discs. They could have just been feeling different to me that day. Maybe I was throwing differently that day, but I think their stability is pretty close to a trespass. The Bolt is like almost freedom stability. Very, very understable.
I would say they have about the same turn, but the Captain has the fade to come out of it at the end, whereas the Bolt will just keep turning.
Yeah, good.
Let's see. I know some of you are experiencing audio issues where we believe we have it figured out, but we can't put it in place until maybe next episode. Again, if you're just tuning in, we are trying some new live streaming software and equipment. There are some things that I like about it, some things I don't like about it. One of them being the left-only audio.
Okay.
Did I already talk about the Bolt?
Yeah.
But if you're appreciating this nice picture-in-picture view, it's thanks to this new software.
Yes, the new software allows us to, rather than having Danny move the camera back and forth, we're able to cut from one thing to one camera to the other, which is really nice. Any other questions on YouTube before let's see.
I've got one that just came in. Matthew said, I love my T-Birds, but I'm looking for something in the Trilogy lineup that is less overstable than a Felon, but more overstable than the Explorer. Any suggestions?
I'd go with a Convict. No, Getaway.
Yeah, the Getaway is going to fit right in between those two discs. I honestly think the stability on a brand new Getaway is closer to a Felon than it is to an Explorer. It is more overstable than you think it's going to be. However, it's a really usable stability, and it's going to go farther than both of those discs.
It's such a good Frisbee.
Super good.
3 in my bag. They're all amazing.
You need to check. I just grabbed an SE one and started throwing it yesterday, and it's stupid good. It's the same speed and straight out of the box as the Lucid, but just hold straighter, even just a bit longer.
It goes just as far as my distance drivers.
Super good.
Such a good
Super good.
Do it. Hey, do it, man.
All right, so that's all the questions we have on YouTube, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks to our audio listeners for bearing with us as we do this live. We are always working on something, as Jeremy likes to say, and of course, we are always experimenting on Disc Golf Answer Man. So we'll see if we can figure out the audio issues for next week. Until then, keep on keeping on.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we say here on Disc Golf Answer Man. That's how we close shows a lot.
Keep on keeping on. So we'll see you guys next week.